right, which is this. But now instead of just adding a Postgres password, I think I'll have to do -e, and I don't want to run this in the background. So I do -e Postgres user equals, we'll just say Bob. Okay. Oh, it says didn't kill this container. So it says conflict, the container name Postgres, some Postgres already exists, it's in use. So let's just do Docker PS and let's stop this thing. Docker stop some Postgres. This returns this for me. It means it's probably working. We can do Docker PS again. And right, it's not, right, we successfully killed it. So then the next thing, let's boot this up again. We are specifying the name. We're specifying the password, the user, and then this is the name of the image, right, which will boot up this container. Ugh, I did kill it. It's all right. We'll just use a different name. We'll call this something Postgres. Okay, now it's booting up. This time I didn't do the -d, right? I didn't do the -d, so that's why it's not running in the background anymore. It's running directly here, and we can see all these beautiful logs stuff. Notice, here's that. Remember it said that it would, when it boots up, it will see if there's any files in here. Right now there aren't, but you can see it's starting to do that. You can also see it created the database, right? Anything else? Process complete. Listening. Okay. Let's go to a new tab. Type Docker PS. Here it is. Docker exec -it. This thing bash. There I am. We called this thing user is Bob. So if I do psql-u Bob, okay, there we are. Now we can, explore. Like, we didn't find any relations, etc. But you can imagine now if we want to, I'm gonna have to find my plug somehow. Create a table. Venues. Okay. Wait, why not? Create table. Syntax error. Isn't this a valid SQL statement? Oh, it's probably not. We probably need to specify let's say create database. Sorry. Foursquare. Okay. Right, because I'm going to need to put columns and things like that for creating a table. Okay, so now, here we are in Postgres. I guess it created this, I don't know why, for me. And then we have this database here. But if we delete this, right, if we close the container, remember, everything's copy on write. And then once we close a container, it gets removed. So what we probably have to do is use this, use that option that they told us, which is to, store the data. So there's two things here. One is this environmental variable is telling Postgres where to save the data. All right? And then two, this -v thing is saying, okay, I know you're going to write to here, but when you write to here, really write to my volume or to my bind mounted folder. That way when I reboot up my container, I can access the data. The data is not lost. Yeah? So you would just run this command, or some sort of equivalent to do that. One thing to note, by the way, of course, is right, this container is still running. When I bash into it and I do psql-u Bob, I think. No, let's get out of here. We can also dig around and explore, right? So let's see if there's this /var/lib. Does this folder even exist? cd/var/lib. Here's PostgreSQL. cd PostgreSQL. cd/date. So it does, right? So this is probably where, right, you can see that this is what actually holds my data in Postgres. So what we're going to need to do is have this, we would love for this to hold on to this. Because this way, if I just hold on to this, then any databases, any tables, any data I save will actually be saved in my volume the next time I boot up the container. So you can kind of imagine that like when you work with something like Postgres, there's all this machinery, right? We need like the server, like the Postgres server to like listen for every time someone like makes a query and writes like a select statement. I don't know. There's probably some sort of security things going on, but then there's like this one component that has the data, and basically we're okay with shutting down this container every time as long as we hold on to the data when we shut it down. So what we'll do is we'll just bind mount or store in a volume the data folder somewhere in Docker, if we're using a volume, or on our computer. Probably it's better to use a volume. And then the next time we boot up another version of Postgres, cool, that we'll be reading from this volume. And then we kill this guy. We boot up another version of Postgres, and then we're reading, we're still reading from this volume. Okay? So we're just holding on to the important part, and we're okay with booting up a new Postgres container each time. Does that make sense conceptually? Yeah? Beautiful. All right, then I am done.